Good evening. Welcome to the Fitchburg Municipal Airport Commission meeting. It's September 20th, 2023. It's 6:02. Thank you all for coming. Members in attendance, to my far left, Commissioner David Genesi, Commissioner Beth Walsh.
Yeah.
To my far right, Richard Liberatore, and myself, Clayton Raymond, Chair. And we also have Mr. Peter Kettle, Airport Manager. And with us tonight is City Solicitor Vincent Pusateri and the Mayor, Stephen DiNatale. Thanks for coming. Members in the audience are Matt Karen and Jackie Marks from Gale Associates, and we also have Deb Silver, Airport Administrator. Thank you all for coming. We're going to get right to it. Previous month's minutes approval, including special meeting minutes, if there were any. I believe that there were no special meeting minutes, but motion to approve previous month's minutes, which was July.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, David and Beth. We're going to go, item number one is action items. I've been asked to try to usher them along, and I will do so. If we could get quickly, utility expansion study, there was an action item. Mr. Kettle, if you want to brief us.
Yes, I'd just like to mention that I contacted MassDOT Aeronautics and also the FAA, and basically they will not support any utilities for a private venture. So the only way that we can get those utilities supported with a grant is by the city and the airport purchasing the hangars. And in view of that, because the utilities are going to cost approximately $1.5 to $2 million, I'm currently out for a quotation for 20 T hangars and 20 box hangars, slightly bigger than the T hangars that we've got. Once I get that quotation, I'll put a return on investment together and present it to the City Council, to the Commission first, obviously, and then to the City Council to get approval to go ahead with this, because I believe the payback will be anywhere between 15 to 18 months. Years, I beg your pardon. 15 to 18 years.
One sounded a lot better.
It does. I agree with you. But that's the situation. So really, for me, it's a no-brainer, because with 20 hangars, we can be pulling in maybe 500 or 600 for each hangar a month once it's paid for. To me, it's a no-brainer. So,
Peter, just one question.
Yes.
Did the MassDOT give you any indication as to how much of the utilities they would pay for? Would they pay for all of it?
no, it will be an FAA grant, and it will be the normal split.
95 and 5?
Yes.
Thank you. Minimum standards, it's on the agenda. We'll get to that. Financial review, if you don't mind, we'll do that when we get to the financial
Well,
review.
we can, but basically it's very quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
They're still working on the Munis system in order to give me what I require, and it's still not sorted out yet, but they're working on it.
Utility expansion study. Matt Karen reported on the
Yeah, really, we've covered that.
utility study against...
That's what we did a minute
Okay,
ago.
yeah.
Thank you.
New business, airport manager update, RFP. That's going to be this evening
Yes, it
anyways. Security badge request. Why is this an action item?
I put it on there because I had another A&P come into the airport, and I questioned him on why he was there, and he was going to do an annual on an aircraft, and I asked him for his A&P license, which he gave me, and I said, could I see your certificate of liability insurance? He said, I don't have one. I said, well, I'm sorry, sir, the minimum standards here is that you must have a liability insurance for at least $1 million. I'd like you to leave. And he left happily. So
That's all you need.
that's why I brought that up. So just to show that I'm honouring an equal stance to everybody that comes on the
No,
airport.
absolutely. I mean,
So
it is what it is.
Commercial for industrial.
Old business, minimum standards again. Crawford Street safety.
we're going to get on that as well.
Okay. PPG.
And we're going to do that as well. That's it.
All right, this is as quick as action items we ever had.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Gold star.
Thank you. Item number 2, correspondence to the commission. None to me, any to you, Peter, other than emails.
Other than emails, no, we have a proliferation of emails that I did send to everybody, and I've also done hard copies that you can see within the packet that's been put together.
Okay,
So we'll get to that as we get forward.
thank you. Item 3, Gail, review of ongoing work. Jackie or Matt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So just jumping in, I believe I provided each of you a copy of Gail's update. The first project, number 1, the environmental assessment and wildlife hazard assessment. The wildlife hazard study began in June of this year, and there are monthly ongoing site visits at the airport to just review the different types of species, birds, mammals, et cetera, that are known to occur or being observed at the airport. So this study will be continuing through the duration of next year and will conclude in the spring, at which time a wildlife hazard assessment report will be prepared, and that will have all the findings of the different wildlife that are present on the airport. Currently, we are working on preparing a draft of the environmental assessment that will review the projects that the airport had voted on as part of the master plan. And that is going to kick off, we anticipate, posting or assisting the airport in posting a public notice by October 1st of this year, just announcing that the project has begun, and then from there we'll present a draft of the environmental assessment to the commission for consideration. That's really all we have for this month. Just the work is ongoing, and stay tuned. But if anybody has any questions about the project at all, happy to take them.
No, business as usual.
Okay.
Good.
I'll pass it over to Matt so he can talk a little bit more about the other items.
Got
we
it.
have.
Thanks, Jackie. So, the only other project is the utility expansion project. We were contacted by the contractor, Peter, that you've been working with, that's putting together a cost estimate for you for the hangars. They were just interested in the master plan process, the location of hangars, why we chose the location that we did, former runway to 0, of course, and why we chose smaller hangars closer to Crawford Street versus some of the larger box hangars, if you remember, closer to the runway. Just explaining the difference between keeping the general aviation and the corporate aviation separate. So they took some information from us. They took some CAD files that we happily provided them. So I'm assuming, Peter, you'll be hearing from them at some point with some layouts and maybe some concepts. So if there's anything else that we can do or provide to them to assist in this project, just let us know.
Thank you, Matt.
And that's it as well.
Can I just comment on that, please?
Yes, go ahead.
I did hear from them, and they actually sent the designs for the T-hangars and the box hangars. The only thing that we didn't get was the quotation, because they were waiting for the steel manufacturer to advise them on the price of the steel. And I was supposed to have got that on Friday to put that as an item in here, because I think it's important to do that. But they didn't give it to us, and I spoke to them yesterday, and they said they'd have it to me first thing this morning, and I'm still waiting. So
Excellent.
I guess they're still waiting. But thank you, Matt.
Yep, you're welcome. I'm hoping maybe we'll get a gold star, too, for being quick.
Gold star, Vinny? Yep. You're in.
And a thumbs up, too.
You got some other items on the bottom here, the backup generator.
Spoke too soon.
Silver
So
Star.
Taking back this.
those are all older, outstanding items. There's no update on those. I've just left them on here. Primarily number 3, because we are still waiting for FAA and MassDOT to come out with their proposed dates for the CIP meetings, those capital improvement meetings that happen every single year. They appear to be a little bit later this year than they have been in years past, and we're still waiting. As soon as we hear from them when they're scheduling them, we'll book something with you guys.
Great, thank you. Item 4, Fitchburg Pilots Association, Young Eagles event.
They actually contacted the airport to request it to go onto the commission agenda. They'd like to do another Young Eagles event on October the 15th, running from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So we need to vote and just get approval on that, please, and I'll let them know.
You got enough time to coordinate that between now and then?
Yes.
Yeah, we never had an issue in the past. I
Right.
motion to approve October 15th.
Second?
Moving on. Yeah, sorry. Let's vote on that. 4-0. I'm glad I got you. Now you got me in a rush. New business, RFP for non-aviation land lease.
Because the airport master plan had been approved by the FAA, I believe it was time to put out an RFP on the non-aviation land lease. I put together the request for procurement. Mary Delaney came back saying, thank you. There are a couple of things that she needs to be verified at this meeting tonight, which will come up a little bit further down. But basically, it's gone out, and the mayor and I believe Attorney Pusateri are really happy with this because it'll bring a lot of revenue into the city. So,
So the RFP has been submitted to Mary?
it has.
She has not written it yet, or,
She has not, because she's waiting for this,
okay,
which is item 2.
okay. I don't have an item 2.
Yeah, you do. It's behind item 1.
Next page.
There's item 1. There's item 2.
Thank you.
Okay.
There goes my gold star.
Everybody, second page. Thank you. Okay, so basically, Mary got the RFP. She said, can I read this out? Because you guys are going to have to vote on this, all right? After careful consideration of the path forward, I'm putting concepts out for your consideration and comment. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts as we embark on this journey. Before anything begins, we must receive a determination of surplus need for real property by the City Council. While the determination vote is pending, I will set up a meeting of the Airport Development Focus Group to fine-tune a drafted request for proposals, RFP, to be issued by the Purchasing Department following a favourable vote. This will have a due date of March the 1st, 2025. Because proposers will need at least this much time to develop their response. I believe that should be 2024, shouldn't it?
That's my understanding,
Yes.
sir.
Yeah, I think we'll put that 2024, okay? After receiving RFP responses, the evaluation team will consider proposal and decide which, if any, will move forward to negotiation level. Alternatively, there is another path we could follow. Timeline is a bit longer, but allows us to test the market and ultimately, and eliminate the unknown by identifying interested parties through a request for expressions of interest, RFEI. This is the process we use for proposed redevelopment of the West Wastewater Treatment Facility. While the determination vote is pending, the Purchasing Department will issue a request for expressions of interest. The RFEI would serve to determine the level of interest in the market and provide a pre-qualified list of proposers without requiring them to complete a full RFP process or make solid commitments in a short time. During the open period for RFEI proposals, the Airport Development Focus Group would fine-tune a request for proposal. After receiving RFEI responses, the evaluation team would consider the proposals and decide which, if any, are viable. These would then be qualified to participate in the RFP process that follows, where we would require extensive detail and could negotiate lease and development agreements. I'm working on the RFP as we speak. Please let me know if the alternative path is preferable. So you guys have to vote on the current situation or the one that Mary is actually proposing as a second.
I like the alternative proposal.
Yeah, I do too.
Anybody who would like to comment? Go ahead, Beth.
I think that the second one, the alternative proposal looks like a better way to go.
Otherwise, you get a surprise of people
Right.
from all directions.
Yep.
I just, I mean, she likely put that as an alternative because it's favorable for her as well, and even the development committee, so.
Right.
Anyone else want to comment? I would motion to go with the alternative plan. Motion.
I would second that.
Do you need to make sure, motion with the date of March 1st, 2024, though?
Well, that's in the first plan.
Yes, you're right. Thank you.
But we will clarify that. Motion CR, second Beth Walsh. Vote, please, for alternative plan. Mr. Pusateri.
I just am going to confirm that we are going to proceed requesting for a determination that the area depicted is surplus from the Airport Commission perspective. Surplus meaning not needed for aviation purposes. And then we're going to put that into City Council for their final determination.
Yep.
The 178,000 feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Actually, it's all of it, the 519 plus the 178,000, because that is non-aviation here. This is the aviation area. That's going up the hill,
Okay.
okay?
The alternative? Yeah, it's a little bit longer.
So it's almost 700,000
Yeah, you're
square
right.
feet.
Yes,
All right?
You're right.
Okay.
So all that has to go. Shall I make a vote to include that?
Yes,
Yeah.
let's be clear that this is what we're talking about
Yeah.
in
Okay.
the alternative approach.
Okay. You want to amend your motion?
Yes, I'm going to amend that motion to include, to set up a meeting with the Airport Development Focus Group to include I don't know if this 519,769 square feet is inclusive of the 178,000 or you
It is.
add them up.
No, it's not.
Total?
That's 519, that's 178.
Okay.
Two separate sections.
Two separate sections.
And the RFP request includes that total
Yeah.
area.
Just, Mr. Chair, the amendment to the motion, if I may, sir, would be to proceed with the declaration of the 519 and the 178 is surplus property, not for aviation purposes, and that would permit your airport manager to file a petition at City Council, and then we would proceed to get that final determination from the city over the course of the month of October. I think your manager is prepared to make a presentation at City Council about this opportunity for the development, and we would expect hopefully a favorable vote by the end of the month, and then all of these, when these requests start coming in, it's kind of a fait accompli. We are ready to go at that point in time.
Okay, again, I'll amend my motion to include what Vinnie just reiterated, which I'm not going to reiterate again,
Okay.
but understood.
Excellent.
Thank you.
And I'll second that motion.
Vote on that amended motion. Thanks, Vinnie.
Thank you, sir.
All right, is there page 3? There is.
Yeah, but you've got to go down.
Something different.
Yes, it is.
Includes new business, old business, RFQ update. Mr. Peter Kettle?
Okay, thank you. Basically, we only had one applicant for the RFQ update. The update was for the consultant for the airport, and Gale Associates obviously applied. So it's now up to you to vote to accept Gale for the next 3 years, is it, Matt?
Don't recall what the RFP said? It was either 3 or 5 years, I don't recall.
Well, it's whatever it was that you needed to do after the airport master plan was put out. So I thought it was 3. If you're saying it's 5, we'll look into it, but It just needs approval, doesn't it? So can you vote on an approval 3 or 5? Or does it have to be specific? I don't think so.
You have a currently pending contract with Gale that's
Right.
before you.
Yes.
Whatever you approve, if you approve this contract,
Yeah.
you'll be stuck with it, whether it's 3 or 5.
Okay, excellent.
What do we usually do? What was it the last time? Wasn't it 3 years?
Here's the last one. And it was cut short because we had something else that needed a new vote. So, right.
So this is going to be a 5-year term.
No, it'll continue until the end of the 5.
Right.
Oh.
Or in compliance with the terms and conditions of the
Right.
I feel Gale Associates does an excellent job. I have absolutely no qualms about approving another contract lease. So I motion to approve.
Second. You need to vote.
Let's vote. 4-0. Congratulations, Gale Associates. Thank you all. Matt and Jackie, thank you. Item B, RFP update. Peter Kettle.
Okay, thank you. The RFP was sent out for the land that we have available on the aviation side of the airport. There was 4 basic areas on that land lease. Can you just move those over, please? So they are the 4 areas that were put out for an RFP to be applied on. And I had questions on where the utilities were. And obviously, if somebody wants to build a hangar that has all of the utilities, which are water, gas, electricity, and sewer, then there's 2 good areas that actually exist. And one of them is where the area of the 12,000 square feet hangar is, as you can see. And that's located between Hangar 10 and the Pilots Association hangar. Hangar 10's currently a tenant with Joseph Nagel. And the other one is the 39,000 square feet, which is where the existing asbestos building is. And the caveat on the asbestos building was that if anybody wants to build in that area, then they take down the asbestos building or they coat it inside to prevent any damage from the asbestos, which I believe is allowed. So we got one. Well, originally, the intention was to actually adjudicate it on August the 7th. Unfortunately, we didn't get any bids. There was no bids whatsoever. So I contacted Mary and said, did we get any? And she said no. So I called the 2 people that I knew were interested in this, and one was Mr. Joseph Spinelli, who sits in the back of the room here. Just wave, Joseph, so everybody can see you. Thank you. Okay. And the other one was Nagel Aircraft. And I spoke to both of them, and Joe had actually said he thought it was 1 o'clock and not 11 because it didn't come through that clear. So he was down to put it in, and they said it's closed. So he went back home. So I called Mr. Nagel, and Mr. Nagel said, oh, no. He said, I've got until 5 o'clock. It's an all-day thing, isn't it? I said, no, Mr. Nagel, it isn't. It's an 11 o'clock, so you didn't qualify. Oh, so what can we do about it? So I contacted the Chief Procurement Officer, and she said, well, we'll have to reissue the RFP with another number. But that was on the Friday. And on the Monday, I contacted again. I said, so did you look into this? She said, yes. She said, I contacted Mass Procurement, and Mass Procurement said that we don't have to reissue a new one. We can just extend the old one because there was no bids. So I informed Mr. Spinelli and also Mr. Nagel, and immediately Joseph brought his down, and Debbie took it to the city offices. And I contacted Mr. Nagel, and I told him, I said, it's your lucky day because you can still put your bid in. Mm-hmm. And he told me that he was waiting for his partner to get the steel quotation ready. How many days does he have? And I said, you've got a few days to get this in because there's already one in there. Mm-hmm. So basically, in between the time that I spoke to him and 3 or 4 days later, his partner had actually pulled out. So The reason you've got 3A and 3B there is that 3A is the form for price proposal from Mr. Spinelli, which is here. And I did send that to you on email, so I hope you've all read it and you can see what a good job that this hangar is going to be with the resin-coated floor and everything else. It's going to be top-notch. Mr. Spinelli chose the 12,000 square foot hangar area, which is in between Nagel's hangar and the Pilots Association hangar. So Joseph didn't get his lease in because he split up and he didn't have a backer. So basically, it's up to you guys to make a vote knowing an existing tenant on the airport that came from Hanscom Field to move into a sublease situation and then to eventually get the complete lease, a full lease agreement at that particular building, who wanted to come to the airport because he saw that vacant lot next door and he was going to build a hangar within the first 18 months that he was at the airport, which didn't materialize for other reasons. So now we're into 3 years, and that land is still available right next to him, and he said that he would like us to offer the alternative area to Mr. Spinelli, which is the area where the 39,000 feet is, where all the utilities are. But as you rightly said, within that area, in order to build that, there's an additional cost of maybe $100,000 because there's no asphalt there. So the asphalt also has to be brought in. So that's the situation you have at the moment. You have a situation where you've got an existing tenant who would like to keep that plot for him, that area, and ask Mr. Spinelli to move elsewhere, or you appoint Mr. Spinelli into that area where Nagel Aircraft has the abutment to his hangar. Now, the caveat here is I did send you all the emails, as you saw, and basically the last email that I got from Mr. Nagel was that if you put that out to somebody else, I'm quitting the airport. I'm going to move my business. So this is the situation you have. I don't think there's anything to add to that from my behalf. You've all read the emails. They're all in there. You can see the backwards and forwards. When Joseph first came to me, I did say, Joseph, look, I said, I can't do anything, and I don't think the Commission will do anything because you had your opportunity within the 3 years to build the hangar. And he said, well, you know what the situation was. I said, I don't know what the situation is. I know that you didn't build it. But Joseph, as I said, he's an excellent tenant. He pays his bills monthly. He's really good for the airport. He brings a lot of business into the airport. And people fly in from Sao Paulo to get their aircraft annulled by Nagel Aircraft. So it's up to the Commission to decide what they want to do. I don't know if there's anything within legally that we can say we can hold that open for 18 months as an RFP. I don't think that's legal to do that. But let's open it up for your discussions. How do you feel? You're the Commission. You have to make the decision.
I would like to hear what Attorney Pusateri has to offer on that.
I just wanted to, and I had to step out, I received a phone call from our procurement officer, so I wanted to take that. Is Mr. Nagel on a sublease to another tenant, or is Mr. Nagel contracted to the airport from a primary lease at this
He's
point?
contracted to the airport for a primary lease, and that was
He's
signed
1
last
year
year.
into a 10-year term?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, go ahead, Beth.
I have a question. So we sent an RFP. Mr. Spinelli complied in a timely fashion.
100%.
Mr. Nagel has not.
No.
And our options are to what? What are the options under
Based on the gentleman's, the manager's presentation, I think it would be fair to sum it up this way. Your options are to provide a positive response to the person who responded to your RFP. It appears from his response to be ready, willing, and able to construct an airport, a hangar on the 12,000 square foot property, and in doing that, suffer the potential consequences of losing the tenant that you have, who is under a contract with you for the next 9 years. Or you reject all offers that you received on this on the hope that at some point in time, this intention to build a hangar that was expressed, 3 years ago, will actually come to fruition. I think those are the options. Under option one, I think you have a kind of a nuance there, which would be, should you lose your tenant because you've decided to award the, or agree to the response to the proposal, then we would have an obligation to mitigate our damages, and so we would need to go out and look for a new tenant to fill Mr. Nagel's spot. And so he pays rent, if my memory serves me, to be approximately
$3,000 a year.
Yeah, $3,000 a year, $36,000 a year in rent. So we may very likely find another tenant that pays that much in rent. Maybe they'll pay more, and maybe they'll pay a little bit less. So I don't say that you lose rent for sure in the amount of 36, and of course you have a damages claim against the tenant if they breach their contract, right? And then the next question is the unknown and unknowable while you're here tonight, and I've probably never known, will be, will the new tenant that comes in to replace Mr. Nagel's business, assuming he leaves, assuming there's a need to fill that, will that produce a similar traffic, fuel purchases, and that type of thing? So those are the parameters as I understand the issue, and makes me glad that I'm not a policy determination. I just have to explain legal issues that I see.
There you go.
So it's within your sound discretion to go either way on those options.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, Peter.
Would you like to ask Mr. Spinelli to say a few words? What his intentions in coming to the
Yeah.
airport? Because during the discussions with him, this would be the start of building a hangar, plus other hangars going down the road.
Yeah, we're going to come to that.
Okay.
You know, can I add one more thing, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you can.
I'll never forget the experience of the previous negotiation that went with another group who made threats to stop buying fuel and other expressions to try to gain some type of bargaining position over the commission, and I think it sends the wrong message. Be my personal advocacy.
Yeah. In my opinion, you had two interested parties. One interested party brought us the proposal on time. And then we even extended time for Mr. Nagel, and he still was not able to get the bid in on time.
Just to clarify, they were both in the same boat. They both missed the first one.
Oh,
Right.
okay,
But as soon as it was opened up again, Mr. Spinelli came in straight away.
right. So he was ready.
Yes.
But in a matter of a few hours at first, and then after it was opened up again, it came through. You know, in my mind, I would say Joe has a argument. If he had sent it in and his was the same for all intents and purposes, I would say he has a strong argument.
Which Joe are you talking about?
Mr. Nagel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right, both Joes. Sorry. And that's my opinion. I mean, to me, it's you come in with a bid that we put out to the public through the whole country, and it's just I don't see why I wouldn't grant it to Mr. Spinelli. Any other commissioners want to make a comment? And after that, Joe, you're welcome to come up to the podium and speak. I would have one or two questions for you as well.
Yeah, I'm just more anxious to hear what he has to say right now.
Yeah. Yeah. You okay?
Yeah, my sentiment is exactly what the chairman said. We've given Mr. Nigel ample time. He knows the situation he's in. He's been on the airport for 3 years. You know, it's not like he's just coming in, you know, off the cart. So
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of sentiment for a guy who knows the deals, what's going on. This is two opportunities to send in his bid. Got a gentleman who stepped right up, is ready to rock and roll, and another guy seems like he's trying to bide more time. So
And I don't like the
sentiment alone tells you exactly what's in my head.
Yeah, and
how I feel.
I'm not a fan of the threat either. I echo city solicitor's comments about the fact that this has happened before, and it just doesn't set a good precedence. So,
Yeah. Joe, just one question before you speak. Would you be interested in the 39,000 square foot hangar with the problem child on it?
Not as the first development opportunity at the airport.
Yeah.
But haven't ruled it out, and I did do a little bit of legwork with an asbestos contractor that we worked with previously. I think it's got opportunity. I think there's just some unknowns there. But I do think there's an opportunity to develop that eventually, and that's what I'd like to talk to you about, making the parcel that I submitted for the first, but not the last development on the airport.
Yeah. So speak freely if you would like.
Yeah. So
Can you just go a bit closer, Joe? I'll pull it to you.
sure thing.
Thank you.
So thanks for having me at the meeting. I've worked in the city going back probably 15, 16 years on the construction side. And I kind of put some of the projects that I've worked with my construction company in the city. And I'm involved with another property up on Oak Hill Road, up by the golf course. There's something about Fitchburg, and you know, it's not just the airport, but I think in general, I think Fitchburg's got a lot of potential, and I think you just need folks like business folks or investors to take the leap and to come here. I look at the airport kind of as a pilot now, as just this untapped opportunity that you know, and it's kind of upsetting that you know that you hear, you know, kind of like a threat to be made, and because you just need people to come and invest, and you know, I just bought a new aircraft. I'm sitting in Hangar 1. It's, you know, kind of a sublease of a sublease. I'm just there kind of month to month, and you know, in the current situation of that, like that could be a beautiful hangar, and it's just kind of rotting away. You know, and so I think I'd like to be the first to take the leap and to put a state-of-the-art hangar building up. You know, we'll have to work on the sizes and kind of like how big it's going to be, right? I kind of like in my proposal, I said it's going to be probably something between 5,000 and 12,000. 12,000 is probably a stretch considering the parcel is 12,000. We'll need room for parking. I kind of told Peter it's probably going to end up in the 8,000 range, but it's going to be modern. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be able to house, you know, jets coming in. You have NetJets, you know, like those are NetJets that came in. I mean, these guys are going to put their planes away at night when they come in if they're going to be here for overnight, and the airport doesn't have that. And that's what really makes it kind of a modern airport, is like when you can service like, you know, NetJets and Wheels Up and these different charter operators that they at least have a place, and then we could do like a revenue split between the city and us if we have space. Peter could, you know, pull the Phenom 300 in and charge them $300 a night, and we do a split, and everybody's happy, and that's how you attract more people here. So I think you just need more people to say, I want to invest in this place, and less people to say, because I'll tell you right now, if Mr. Nagel moves out, sign me up for that hangar. I'll take the hangar tomorrow. I'll see when he wants to move out. That's just, there's so much built up demand for aviation on the general aviation side, especially since COVID. There's just no place to go. The commission's sitting on a gem. You could increase the rent 20, 30, 40%. I'd be on the other end of that. I'd have to pay more. But you could, because there's just, there's just so much demand. So, that's just my take. I'm willing to come here to invest. There's no demands. I picked that spot because I think it's the easiest to develop out of the gate. And frankly, the reason why I picked that spot is I think I can get the hangar up pretty quick, so I can come out of Hangar 1 and put my airplane in a world-class hangar. And then when that lease is up, I'd like to talk to you about that lease. Because if that lease was up tomorrow, I would tell you that I would want a long-term extension on that lease. And I want to redo the lights, and I want to paint the floors, and I want to bring other aircraft owners like myself who I know exist. There's a few on the field now. They have $1 million plus aircraft. They want a top-notch facility. So I guess my message to you is I'm going to be here for a while. And I'd like to invest, whether it's up on Oak Hill or down at the airport or other opportunities in town. And I hope more investors and business folks come into this city and do the same. And no threats. We're going to be collaborative, and we're going to, we'll do something fun and productive together.
Thank you, Joe. Any commissioners have any questions of Mr. Spinelli?
No questions? Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Sounds good.
Thank you for your interest.
Yes.
It's appreciated. Okay. We need to vote on whether we accept Mr. Spinelli's lease for that property, the 12,000 square foot that's between Hangar 10 and the FPA hangar.
I would make a motion to accept his proposal.
And I will second it.
We need a vote. We're going to accept Mr. Spinelli's bid proposal. And it's a 4-0. So, Mr. Spinelli, you know it's going to be a bit of a road between the airport manager, the planning department, what you can put there, how big it's going to be. We'll do the best we can to, expedite that, but it's going to take some time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Joseph.
Item C, land lease, N number holdings.
I believe that is now concluded, Attorney Pusateri.
I think they sent us the final edits, and I haven't just confirmed that the final edits were correctly made. Had I had the wherewithal, I would have done that before I came here. So I'm assuming it's going to be a 10-minute review, and I will verify the final edits were made.
Excellent.
This is for the life flight space?
Yes. Yes.
They're actually started yesterday. They've cleaned out that massive concrete slab that was there in between hangars 3 and the administration building and where the RVs are at the moment.
Yeah.
And they'll have that completely moved out by tomorrow afternoon. And then Travis is going to bring his crew in, and they're going to start putting the foundations in, the floor and everything. So they will build that as soon as possible, because my understanding is that Air Methods don't want their people going into the hotel over the winter months. They'd sooner not pay for the hotel and put them into the hangar. So it'll be put up as quickly as possible.
It doesn't really get cold here until like February anyways. It'll be fine. Thank you. Item D, minimum standards. That's on me. No action at this time. Work in progress. Item E, Crawford Street safety. Nick?
I spoke to Nick earlier on, and he's actually been in contact with Mass DOT like he said he would do. And they've actually been receptive, and they are going to do a survey on it or an analysis on it and then come up with some plans from MassDOT, which is good. So hopefully we'll have some more information by the next meeting in October.
That is good, because we've been on this thing for months.
Yes, we have.
Yeah,
Yes, we have.
years, I should say.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Item F, PPG.
That's the powered paragliders. You know that we've had 3 sessions this year already. They were due to go into Simsbury, Connecticut, on September the 25th to October the 2nd, but apparently there may be a little bit of a problem there, and they contacted me to ask us if, at the airport, if they could come up and run the PPG at the airport again. And of course, the answer is yes, because it brings in approximately $1,000 of revenue for us. And I'm waiting to hear from them, or we're waiting to hear from them. So hopefully it goes. If it doesn't, then it's no loss.
What was the date they wanted on that?
September the 25th to October the 2nd.
Financial review, approval for commitments and abatements.
None.
Anything to report?
No, sir.
Munis is still,
Yes, sir.
yeah. Hope we don't have any big surprises when that finally gets, executive session has to be announced prior. There isn't any tonight. Date and time of next regular meeting, October 18th, 2023. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Time is 6:50. Adjourned.